Hello again. It seems that I've taken a bit longer than expected. Trouble was there's just so much to cover with Unity and it's so exciting. But anyways, where do we leave off? Oh yes, I was just about to start with domain classes. It's the next stage of what I need to talk about to do with the platform. So a good example of domain classes are my player manager and my story manager. If we look at these, they're not mono-controlled because mono-controlled classes can be attached to as a Unity script, whereas these aren't. These actually are the model. These control. These are actually domain class, which store data about objects. So, for instance, my player. I've got a player in my database. All data about my player has to go through this domain class object, this player manager. This handles all the logic, including database query logic, through this class. For instance, all my player XPs goes through here. My player login details, password, name, username. When I add health later on, which I'd like to, that would go through there, etc. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, also these two classes would be the model and MVC. Continuing to look at the software, I'll also press on to Android, because this is after all what we're developing the game for. Unity can build games for many types of platforms, with Android being one of them. This involves using Android SDK tools, which is a module that can be included when installing the Unity editor. So if I get the Unity editor up here, we can see under installs we can install modules, and we can include the Android SDK tools here as part of the build. This allows us to build Android games, turn our game to an Android project. So, developing for Android, one good thing to always keep in mind is because the screen is smaller, we have to develop the whole screen size according to mobile. So, for instance, when I develop my interface items, we can see these anchor points here. These always have to be anchored to the corners of my component. This specifies a maximum size in which the interface component can be manipulated within, and ensures that it doesn't, stay massively large when the screen size goes small. So that's a vital bit. I've made a mistake of forgetting to do my anchor points, and my screen looks a mess when I switch to Android. The other thing to look at is this one here. Whenever we do a canvas, we've got a scaled screen size, so that means all the components on the canvas will, as long as they're anchored, will scale with the screen size. When let's go to a tablet or an Android, to a mobile device, we can also match width or height here as well. So specify which we'd like it to match more on, or if we want to evenly match on both width and height. Whereas following this, the company and package names must be set. So when we build under project settings, here I am. Oops. We've got the player here. It's important to make sure the company name is set as well as a package name, otherwise we can't build it. Also, the other important thing is to target your minimum API level. So then, the interesting thing to note is that there are two different types of color spaces here. The graphic rendering, gamma and linear. Gamma is the old version. Linear is the newer, updated, better graphics. However, this is something because my Android devices are level 19, as you can see here. The minimum one that supports linear is 21, Android 5.0. So I've had to switch to gamma for my game, which means poor graphics, but at least it runs. I was able to get it running with linear, but everything went a bit dark with the graphics, a sign of its incompatibility, which was an issue. So yes, that's something I've encountered and I've solved over time with Android building. the last thing to discuss with Android platform building is build settings. So as you can see, the cloud settings before that is also accessed through here, but this is where we build our game from. I've specified Android. I've switched platform to it. Here we've got the scenes to include in the build. So the order here is the order in which they'll appear. 0 being the one that will launch on game start, or on game launch. This is the first one will start. We click build and run. We can build it or build and run. I prefer build and run because I keep an Android device attached to it, and it'll actually build and launch it on that device, as well as creating an APK in a specified target folder here. So you can see I've already built my version here. There is a known bug. It's known on forums and things, and I've encountered it. The first time I click this, it'll error me out, but the second time it'll run it. Yes, I can get around it by clicking the second time, or other people avoid it by just straight out building. I prefer build and run, so I just try it twice and it works. That's Android. The last platform, software platform I would like to mention is in developing this project, it's a good thing to test server requests. So just test the database connection. I can't do it at the moment because my server's shut down. It'll take a bit to get it up in MySQL, but you just put your URL link here, and you choose request. In most cases, I'm using POST or GET, and it'll tell. And I can see down here with the test down here whether I'm actually getting the data I need to from my database. So this is a handy tool. The other equivalent of it is Postman, which has a few more features. I choose Insomnia over Postman because I like simple orders and basic. That's the software platforms. Let's move on to the last thing, which is the smallest area. I just want to talk about some of the software advantages, disadvantages of the various platforms, etc. I'll start with Unity. So the first couple will just be recaps of what I've done in the past. For instance, I've covered Unity pros and cons. It's one of its pros is it's free, which is always a plus. Up to about 100,000, up to about making 100,000, then you have to pay. It's also excellent cross-platform development. It's very compatible with other platforms. Its asset store is a major advantage. You can buy, sell assets on there. It's pretty much your oyster shell, really. There's a lot of valuable treasures to be found in the asset store, especially for those developing games, and those who want to create assets for it and make a bit of money on the side. Unity is easy to use. It's got a drag and drop feature. It's got C#, which is one of the easier programming languages. It's easy around, which makes it a big pro. Some of the cons, its documentation is out of date. I found that when I was looking for certain things, which was a bit of an issue when I was wanting correct information. Its poor terrain engine is an issue. I found that myself. It just takes a lot of effort to get a good terrain, so I end up using other alternative methods. It favours large games as well. Unity does. For small games, it's got quite large file sizes, so for small games, the size of the game can be quite large, whereas the proportion of the core file size compared to your game gets a bit less as you make it bigger. So that's Unity. Let's move on to SQLite pros. SQLite has got great performance. It's fast with its read and write speeds because it's local. It's a single file, which also makes it portable. It's another pro, and it only loads the data it needs, nothing more, which makes Unity all round great for small projects for these three pros. Its cons, it's not good for multi-user systems. I did mention that last video, in the previous video. It also relies on a file system locking to prevent conflicting writes, which can be an issue if too many processes, too many applications want to access the same data. They have to wait for each other. It's also only good for small to medium applications because it's got a database size limit. I can't quite remember what the limit is. 2 gig, 4, 6? I can't remember. It's small anyways, so not good for big applications. Finally, I want to cover something new, which was in this last milestone we were introduced to touch input. With Unity, it actually supports a wide range of sensors, things like accelerometers, which we covered in class, I remember, and I've implemented in my game as well. Temperature sensing, proximity sensing, rotation, camera use. There's a lot of different sensors that it supports. However, the use of touch screen is considered to be a weaker area for Unity, and I've been noticing that its code and its support for touch screen sensoring, it's quite tricky and difficult to get working. I've run into a lot of difficulty because before I did accelerometer, I was trying a lot of other different sensory inputs through touchscreen, which there's either not a lot of documentation, they're hard to get working, etc. Yeah, so hopefully they develop on that a bit more in the future. I do believe that's everything. Sorry about going so long, as I do believe we've been going about 25 minutes. Don't be mad at me, Todd. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you've enjoyed. I've thoroughly enjoyed my journey through Unity and the various other platforms that it utilises, and working with it. Thank you.